On this segment of Correcting the Hatfield-McCoy History, we're going to discuss Floyd Hatfield, Hog Stealing Floyd. In this picture right here, that's been shown for years and years in a lot of Hatfield-McCoy books, in fact almost all the Hatfield-McCoy books, excluding Sheila's and mine and Barry McCoy, our brother. This has always been portrayed as Hog Stealing Floyd Hatfield.
But actually, he's Constable Floyd Hatfield, who is the son of George Hatfield, and he's the brother to Preacher Ance Hatfield.
Here is a picture that's actually of Hog Stealing Floyd that was taken years later. So through all the years of correcting history, this has always been portrayed as Hog Stealing Floyd that Randall McCoy had the issues with. Hog Stealing Floyd was actually the son of John Hatfield.
And he is the brother to Harriet Hatfield, who had the affair with Ellison Hatfield,
her first cousin. Harriet and Ellison were first cousins. They had the affair and produced Cotton Top. Everybody knows Cotton Top, dealing with the feud. They're supposed to have produced two other children, and but it's confirmed that Cotton Top was, even though the Mounts had married Harriet and given Cotton Top his name, he was actually the son of Ellison Hatfield. So actually he was Cotton Top Hatfield by DNA. The first book to ever post this picture was by Coleman C. Hatfield, and after that it just seemed like everybody jumped on the bandwagon and would put that picture in their book. The Feuding Hatfields and McCoys by Dr. Coleman C. Hatfield with Keith Davis. After Barry and I and Sheila had researched and discovered that this was the wrong photograph, we contacted Keith Davis and told him of the mistake that Coleman C. had made and of the mistake that all these authors had made throughout the years by keeping to produce this same picture. And at that time he said he would correct it when they'd done a reprint of the book. To this date, I don't think that's ever been corrected. Sheila, anything else?
No, I think it's good.
Okay.
This is a short video, and at the end of the video, there's going to be pictures from the board here that you can see up close, and you can stop and read whatever you would like.
Sure. I think she's also took some photographs from our book. Again, we've got a over 800-page book on the Hatfields and McCoys with not only the corrected stories, but also documentation to back up these stories. Constable Floyd was actually one of the constables that arrested the three McCoy boys after they had gotten a fight with Ellison Hatfield and stabbed him on the election day. And again, like Sheila said, this was the brother to Preacher Ance Hatfield, the brother to Bad Elias Hatfield, and the brother to Sheriff Basil Hatfield. He was the son of George Hatfield. And actually, he's my great-great-uncle. And years ago, we were discussing, many years ago, writing a book on the Hatfields and McCoys and correcting history. And one of my cousins made the statement, and again, throughout the years, everybody, tried to stay away from the Hatfield-McCoy story because it was going to cause hard feelings. And she even said that. She said, I'm afraid you're going to cause hard feelings when you write a book on getting into the Hatfields and McCoys. She said for years, they have used my grandfather's picture as Hog Stealing Floyd. She said it's pretty upsetting when he was a good, decent man, and every time you look at a Hatfield and McCoy book, there's your grandfather portrayed as a hog thief. And that was one of the first things that Sheila and I had, after she said that, we started working on it. And
gathering research.
And that's where it's at.
Yeah.
And And we found out that he's actually, it was Constable Floyd's picture. And this is actually hog stealing Floyd's picture over here. And it's an interesting story. It's not a big deal. Well, I guess it is if you're related to them.
Yeah, if you're kin to them, it is.
But at the same time, when you take all these stories together that Sheila and I have tried to correct over the years, and you put them all together, you realize that, wow, what has happened to the history of the Hatfields and McCoys, the made-up history, just because people wanted to write a book and they couldn't find a picture of Hog Floyd. So they had another Floyd Hatfield, and they just said, hey, here's Floyd Hatfield. This must be the hog thief.
They just assumed that was the hog stealing Floyd because he happened to have the name Floyd as well as Hog Floyd.
Correct. Like Sheila and I have said many times, you're going to hear it video after video, it doesn't matter to us about the history, about how it turns out. Hatfield, McCoy, I'm Fred McCoy, we're McCoys, but I'm also a Hatfield. My great-grandmother was Nancy Hatfield, and
which is Preacher Ans's
daughter, which would have been his niece, Floyd Hatfield's niece.
Right.
His niece was actually my great-grandmother. We don't care about how it turns out one way or the other.
As long as it's fair. It's right, corrected.
Yeah. And that's what we want. The sad thing is because the West Virginia Hatfields were more domineering and bullish, for lack of a better word, the stories have usually favored the Hatfields. And so while it may seem like, oh, they're McCoys, they're trying to lead it this way or that, we're not trying to lead it anyway. We're giving you the genealogy.
Stating the facts
of the two men. And the genealogy tells you who they were and what they did and who they were related to. So, the funny thing is, and it says it in the book, if she may post a couple of pages of our book.
I will.
But George Hatfield's father was it Ephraim? Ephraim, brother to Harriet Hatfield, Cotton Top's mother, who had an illicit affair with her first cousin, Ellison Hatfield. Ephraim Hatfield had children by two different women. One produced Floyd. He was born in 1847, the son of John Hatfield, who battled over the hog with Randall. And the other wife produced the other Floyd, born 1858, son of George Hatfield, who was the constable that arrested the McCoy boys. So we hope that clears up at least this photograph. It will probably never be, I seen a book probably 6 months ago, a newly released Hatfield McCoy book. Yeah. And probably the third or fourth page over had Constable Floyd Hatfield's picture, and it said hog stealing Floyd Hatfield. And Sheila will post a bunch of pictures at the end of her video.
Yep. Like I said, and that way you all can look at it for yourself, and we'll let you be the judge.
And there'll be a whole lot clearer where you can read it up close. Right. And but that'll conclude this video.
Okay. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on another one.
Thank you.